a duplicated open ending, a cryptic legendary Easter egg, and an achievement deliberately stating ready for the sequel, knowing it's Ensemble's last game? That's one hell of a gambit. Halo Wars. It should make for an interesting discussion. When Halo Wars was first announced, I was excited, of course. You know, this was back when Halo was still at its zenith. But, I was also a little apprehensive. That'd be a good word to use. By the way, I'm going to be using, I'm going to be playing Cleansing, which is my favorite level here. Not because it's technically the easiest or anything, but because I honestly find it the most fun. It's like a giant Forerunner car wash. So anyway, back to Halo Wars.
What's going on here?
I had extremely small amounts of interaction with real-time strategy games. I had a copy of StarCraft, of course everyone did, but I had never heard of an RTS until that point in '98. I didn't really know what to do. This was an entirely different genre for me. It wasn't like platforming where I could pick it up almost immediately, or a first-person shooter where I could learn to adapt. It was just something completely different. And I can't believe that I did this as a child, but I was so, what do you call it? I was so panicked at the thought of failing that I just cheated. Whenever I was on StarCraft, I put on Power Overwhelming, and what was the name of that cheat code? They gave you the 10,000 supplies, all that junk. I never really went through the game legitimately, and that was way back when I was around 8 or 9 years old. And that was pretty much the only experience I had had with RTSs, and I had gotten that through my cousin. He loved computer games, regardless of the genre, and he recommended it to me, but it was just too much of a woof to go through it. And I don't think StarCraft had any difficulty selection either. I think it was just one inherent difficulty, if I remember correctly. I might not be, but hey, I haven't played the game in a long, long time. So, when they said that Halo Wars was going to be coming to consoles, everybody was freaking out. They said, oh my god, you can't have a RTS on a video game console, you can't do it right, blah blah blah. And, of course, like I said, StarCraft being my only comparable option, I thought to myself, you know, that it is a good point.
Turret complete.
You know, how would that work? Putting a game this big onto a console with so many controls and shortcuts and all that junk.
All units.
But later on, when the demo came out, I was pleasantly surprised. Ensemble Studios did an excellent job of teaching me how to play an RTS. And, of course, they didn't have any cheat codes on here. So I did have to, you know, man up. But I ended up enjoying it. I won some missions, I lost some missions. I haven't bulked up to do multiplayer yet. I remember one time I was playing with a friend of mine who lives and breathes real-time strategy. And I don't know the exact specifications of rank in in Halo Wars, except for the whole lieutenant and commander and general and all that stuff. But let's just say that the friend of mine took me into a 2v2 playlist, and
Turret complete.
I was the only one that wasn't the equivalent of a level 50. So we got destroyed. I'm gonna have to learn at some point how to play RTS in multiplayer because I have no idea how to micromanage. As you can see, most of my units are getting killed. But I use what I consider my favorite unit, the Hornets. Hornets and Hawks. I love using aerial units to take out targets.
More resources.
Of course, there's a rock, paper, scissors mentality that usually comes with real-time strategy games.
All units.
Infantry, vehicles, and air forces. But I just use the typical tried and true method of just creating a whole bunch of one unit and steamrolling over everything. It doesn't always work, of course, but it's my favorite method to use. I of course have no trouble with experimenting, but when it comes down to it, I always press left bumper, all units, and I just sweep to wherever
All units.
wherever I need help the most. So yeah, when the demo came out, the game ran pretty smoothly. It was fun. A lot of people who were, I guess, disbelievers, they were taken by surprise at how well the RTS worked on a console. And I enjoyed the story. You know, when I first saw the announcement trailer with a whole bunch of Spartans in there, I said, okay, this is going to be, you know, set before the Halo trilogy. And we're going to learn more about the Halo lore from another perspective. So that was something to get excited about. What else was I going to say? Oh, the characters. I really enjoyed the characters in Halo Wars. Serena, most of all. I love her sarcastic nature. And Forge, while a little bit cliche, is still pretty cool.
Already at maximum population.
And the cutscenes were absolutely glorious. The pre-rendered cutscenes, of course. Not to say that the in-game cinematics were bad. They were actually of pretty good quality. But the pre-rendered stuff was just jaw-dropping. I remember the absolute shiver that went up my spine the first time that Cloaked Swordily picked up that dead Marine and just growled in his face. This deep, reverberating, chilling noise. It was just oh so incredible. And another memorable moment in Chapter 2 of not the Outskirts, the Relic exterior outside. That one shot where the Arbiter, if I remember correctly, his name is Ripa Morame or something like that. When he turns around and it shows his pissed off face, the golden murderous eyes, and those four hanging mandibles. Oh, that was just awesome. I was just melting in my chair.
Turret improved. All units.
Going back to the gameplay, I purchased the limited edition of Halo Wars.
Turret improved.
Not just for the mythic maps for Halo 3. A lot of people purchased it for that specific reason, but I wanted to find out more about the Halo universe that I wasn't able to pick up in books. Of course, the first trilogy of novels, The Fall of Reach, First Strike, The Flood, those had come out, but I hadn't had a chance to pick those up. Either I couldn't find them at the bookstore, or I didn't have a way to purchase them online yet. So I picked up all the information, and you know, I got the little patch, the sticker, and all the good stuff that goes with it. But it was definitely one of the most enjoyable packages I received. You know, outside of the helmet, of course, the Halo 3 Legendary Edition. But it's always fun reading up on stuff like that. Learning how to use the controls in Halo Wars was, you know, pretty easy. The missions were fun and highly varied, actually. All the crazy stuff they have us doing in this game was really something else. But it wasn't all sunshine and total domination, of course. Getting some of the bonus missions, like you know, killing all the grunts in the first mission. Everything's better with bacon. My God, that one is just pure PTSD. It's a nightmare. What else do they have? The reinforcements achievement. Not reinforcements. Tug of war. And without question, running the show. That was terrible for people like me who's never played multiplayer RTSs before. So I would have no chance of finding, you know, a suitable opponent. You know, I just had no way of beating people. So I had to do the boosting method with a couple of lucky souls. Well, not lucky, I should say, brave or helpful. A couple of brave souls. Having to search for each other in skirmish and deathmatch. It was pretty bad. Both of us having to search at the same time, trying to find somebody. And then we end up getting met with someone, you know, who was playing for real. And we had to quit out of that game. Major inconvenience for them, of course. They're just trying to get a quick match in, and everybody's quitting out on them. I'm not really a fan of multiplayer-only achievements like that, because I may have been one of them, but other games, regardless of the quality or the genre, some people might not know how to play the game, or might not have the time or the interest to work themselves up to the top of the ranks. And it didn't really make sense to, not really force, but I guess obligate people to go to so many lengths to get that achievement. I'm reaching the end here, so let me say very quickly, despite inconveniences such as that, the game as a whole is definitely enjoyable, and I still play it from time to time, especially now that it's been re-released onto the Xbox One and the PC. I go through it whenever I can, pick up achievements, do missions I like to replay, go through skirmish games, all that stuff. And the game has ended with me, taking a liking to RTSs and being more open to finding new genres to play. I decided to keep this little cutscene here because it's my favorite cutscene in the game. Save for the final boss fight between Reaper and Forge, but the way it was put together is so perfect. Anyway, I enjoyed this little talk about Halo Wars. I did pretty well today. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. But I'm gonna have to cut it short. It turns out our local forecast is calling for some much needed rain.